The death of Jesus and the Passover. There is no direct connection between the death of Jesus and the Jewish Passover. Jesus did come to Jerusalem for the Passover, knowing that he had already been condemned. However, he did not shrink back. He knew his hour had come, and he no longer resisted all the foolish accusations. Jesus was convinced that it was the will of the Father that he should submit to the natural course of human events, just as every mortal must. And therefore he refused even to use his purely human powers of persuasive eloquence to influence the outcome of the trial. He died on the day of preparation for the Jewish Passover, at about the hour when the Passover lambs were being sacrificed in the temple. However, this coincidence does not indicate that the death of the Son of Man on earth is related to the Jewish system of offerings. Jesus was a Jew, but as the Son of Man, he was a universal man. The events already recounted, which set the stage for this hour in which he was crucified, are sufficient to show that his death at this time was purely a human orchestrated event. It was man, not God, who devised and executed the plan for Jesus' death on the cross. Although the Father refused to intervene, the Heavenly Father did not command, request, or require the death of his Son as it was carried out on earth. It is a fact that Jesus would have had to rid himself of his mortal body sooner or later in some way. But he could have accomplished that task in countless ways without having to die on the cross. All of this was the work of man, not of God. 3 years earlier, at his baptism in the Jordan, Jesus had already fulfilled all the required earthly experiences necessary to successfully complete his bestowal. But from that moment onward, Jesus showed his love for humanity by staying on earth to reveal his heavenly Father to humanity. His entire remaining life, even the manner in which he died, was purely a personal service on his part, for the benefit and upliftment of humanity. The gospel, the good news that mortal man can become spiritually conscious through faith, that he is a son of God, does not depend on the death of Jesus. It is certainly true that his death added much splendor to the spread of the gospel, but his life did so even more. His death shows that he was willing to pay the highest price for spreading the good news, and it inspires his followers not to yield to spiritual falsehood. Everything Jesus said or did on earth added much beauty to the teaching of sonship with God and the brotherhood of man. But this essential connection between God and man is divine. God's love for his creatures is so great that it actively seeks out man, and it is also inherent as mercy in his divine sons. This touching and divinely beautiful connection between man and his Maker has existed for all eternity. It is in no way dependent on a visit of this Son of God to earth. He did come with a purpose, namely to definitively secure the unlimited sovereignty over the universe that he himself had created, and he gained this through the experience of a fully human life. However, the Father in heaven already loved mortal men on earth before that time. Jesus revealed the Father, but he could not manipulate the favor of the eternal, infinite Father. Jesus did not die as an atonement for sins. He did not come to earth to atone for the inherent moral guilt of the human race. Humanity does not bear such guilt before God. Guilt is purely a matter of personal sin and willful rebellion against the will of the Father and the rule of his sons. Sin and rebellion had nothing to do with Jesus' bestowal plan. God's grace to mankind on earth would have been just as unfailing and certain even if Jesus had not been put to death by the cruel hands of ignorant Roman soldiers. Had the Master been favorably received by humanity and departed from earth by voluntarily laying down his life, the fact of your identity as a predestined child of God would in no way have been different. You mortals are sons of God, and there is only one thing needed to make that truth a reality in your personal experience, and that is your spirit-born faith.